Hey, on. My neck is killing me.
I can't feel my legs.
Look, I think I see water.
No, that's just a mirage.
Did I hear someone say massage? Hello, fellas. I think I can help you out with those aches and pains.
I never heard of anybody massaging a horse.
Yeah, besides, we're starving. Hey, my neck feels great. Thanks, Doc.
I bet there ain't nothing you can do for my legs. Wow, unbelievable. I feel like a champion racehorse.
And you too can feel like a champion. This is Geary Whiting from Slow Talk Radio. Sometimes we talk slow and sometimes we talk fast. Just like the intro, my music, I'm in the business of working on ornery horses. Today I have a couple of guests here at the studio, two of my students. I have Brandy Armato and Annie Dillon. Did I get Armato right? Armenta.
Close.
Armenta.
Close enough.
I just call you Brandy.
There we go.
They work at Epona Shoe out here in Creston area. And I just did a program out there. And I brought them in because I wanted them to share a little bit about the program, what it meant to them, some of the things that maybe stuck out. And they're going to talk a little bit about their experiences in the last couple of days. Before I do this, I'm going to give you a little background on myself and trying to cut it down to about 2 minutes and transition into this. It's an interesting story. In 1960, I got involved with powerlifting, weightlifting. And it was just kind of like an attitude issue on my part where I just wanted to get strong. And I was always fighting. So that gave me the edge. I was a little tyke, and everybody was like a giant in comparison. So I thought, well, if you're going to topple a giant, you better be strong. So that interested me. In 1963 in Washington, D.C. at the Naval School of Music, I gathered a little following because it was a little unusual to find a musician who was powerful and strong. And it was very challenging as well to find a musician who liked to fight. So I was an odd bird. And I had a little following. So I started training people in 1963 when I was in Washington, D.C. at the Naval School of Music. That transitioned through life. I always kept working out, staying fit. And in 1981, I studied cross-fiber massage, where I would break up muscle adhesions. In 1985, I studied at the Shiatsu School in Santa Monica in California. My teacher was from Japan, Dr. Doan T. Kaneko, who I just inducted into the Massage Therapy Hall of Fame this year. Dr. Kaneko gave me a start in life. He taught me a very powerful art called Shiatsu massage. And then from there, in 1986, I became involved with a fellow named Bob Wieland, the double amputee that walked across America on his arms. That took him 3 years, 6 months, and 8 days. It was no small feat. And since he was a double amputee, he didn't have feet, so I guess it would be small feet. No small feet. No feet. And so from Bob, I transitioned in 1995 to horses. And I adapted from the human to the equine. And lo and behold, it worked. And it's been a ongoing adventure ever since. I never expected to find myself doing horses, but it has been the most rewarding because of the honesty, the pure. Horses don't play games. They're very refreshing, and they're very intimate, and they're very smart. For some of you who think they are not, well, you're wrong. So in starting this equine massage business, when no one had heard of it, it was a little challenging to get into the arena massaging horses when no one had heard of equine massage in 1995 in my area, and people weren't getting massages themselves, the owners and the trainers, and so they couldn't relate to massage, but the sports world could. So I had to get resourceful, and I started finding women who had headaches. They were taking pills. I said, don't take the pill. I can get rid of the headache in 3 minutes or less. I did. And they said, wow, I've had this migraine for 6 months, and now all of a sudden it's gone. I said, I can also find problems with your horse. And I said, well, go ahead and look at my horse. And pretty soon they were riding different horses, and they were amazed. And they go, what a difference. Can you teach me this? I said, I think so. So in 1998, I bought a little ranch in Atascadero, the Walking W Ranch. I bought it from Wayne Willis. That's where my program began, and it's been going ever since. Well, I have 2 students with me. That's where I am today. My journey from 1960 to 2017. I've developed a great program, a wonderful program, a very important program, which we'll talk a little bit about towards the end of the broadcast today. And so today finished up a school, and it was a fun school. It was one of the more enjoyable programs. It was a short program. And I'm going to just kind of give you right now, turn you over to Annie first, and then we'll get you to Brandy. And Annie had, when we went out to lunch today, Annie mentioned that a couple of things which I thought were interesting about my stories. And I'm going to have her talk about my stories, if she can remember what you said. I remember what you said. So I guess that's it. Annie Dillon, you're up.
Hi. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. And my mind is going blank. But what I really liked about the stories is there's just a lot of credibility and honesty behind them. And it's using your stories not as a way to victimize yourself, but rather to find a way to empower yourself to look at, wow, this is what I've overcome. This is what I've accomplished. Look at me now. And I think that's just amazing.
I have a lot of students that come into the program that are carrying anger, issues, problems, just like I did when I was adopted. And so I came into life with baggage. And but I've seen life as an opportunity, and those angers that I were feeling in my life actually served me very well. They drove me on to getting what I wanted to get, and I wouldn't let anybody tell me I couldn't have it. As I tell my students, all I had to do is check with my board of directors and my advisors. And they go, what? You have an advisory board? I say, you bet I do. There's me, myself, and I.
I love it.
And if me, myself, and I think it's a good idea, no one else counts. And so you go after those dreams if you really believe in it. And so it was fun watching the students, and it's fun watching the horses. Brandy, what were some of the things you saw in the horses' reactions today? And tell us a little bit about kind of what was going through your mind in the last couple of days.
I think for me, it's a lot of the, after working with humans, doing massage for years, and then transitioning into learning more about animals and horses and dogs, and like Gary's saying, there's a different intimacy and a different, no gray area with animals. You're going to know if they like it or if they don't. And watching a lot of the horses today, and especially Annie more on a personal level, knowing those horses like she does, interesting to see how they react, and you can tell when something feels good and they like it. And that's, for me, that's something that's super rewarding and really cool to see. And with the working on humans, there's always you just don't know. I mean, you can ask an
You
answer
don't know.
and they can give you an answer, but it's not the same as working on a horse, or it's just a totally different, like you said, level of intimacy and connection, and I like that part of it.
Okay, for you just tuning in, this is Slow Talk Radio, and we don't always talk slow, but we will do our best. This picture on my in-home study program right there, I hope it's not too glossy. That's the intimacy that I want in my students. I want the horse and the human connection. And so that kind of ties in, I think, a little bit what Brandy was saying. How does that appeal to you, Brandy, the intimacy part? You can't do that in human massage because you'll end up being thrown in jail, going to court. I mean, you kiss your client, they go, bang! What are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a horse. I'm really sorry. But what do you feel about it, and about the intimacy side of it?
They're just so real and raw with their feelings, like I was saying, it's
They wear
something-
their heart on their sleeve.
Yeah. Yes.
That
Exactly.
you just know what they're feeling because they're not hiding behind social graces.
I have to tell you a story about an old dyed-in-the-wool cowboy. He wanted to learn how to massage horses because he'd seen that it worked. He says, "Can you teach me?" I said, "Sure." Well, he was practicing a technique where the horse was there, he was here, and he slapped the rope, and he said, "Horses, stay there. I'm here. You show me respect." That was a strong approach that he was using, which has been the approach for years, until I come along and say, "Don't slap that horse because it's nuzzling you. Hug it back." What do you mean hug it back? That's rude. I said, "No. I leaned up against my mom in the kitchen, and she didn't slap me." And I said, I said, "These horses are trying to connect with us." I said, "You need to view this differently." So this cowboy I was teaching, he was really a raw type cowboy carrying anger issues. I said, "Okay, I won't throw his name into it." I almost did. I said, "Blank," I said, "this is your first assignment." I said, "I want you to hug the horse." You should have seen the look on his face. It was like he was scared. He was scared to death. And like, "No, I can't do that." I go, "I want you to hug the horse." He said, I can't do that." I said, "If you want to learn this, do you still want me to teach you?" "Well, yeah, I do." "Then you've got to hug this horse." It took about 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
That's how difficult it is for some people to connect.
Right, and
with
being
that
so
animal.
disconnected, they can't even comprehend to that point.
And so the hallmark of my program is intimacy. As I have said over and over, if you get the horse's heart, you have the whole horse. If you get a human's heart, they will go to great lengths to do things and take care of you and do things for you. It's the same way with a horse.
Like you were saying earlier about the racehorse incident, racehorse handled by a lot of people, thrown in a stall, done this, done that. Nobody really
Connected.
stops and shows it, and connects with it. And they kind of just get a blank slate thinking that's how things work,
They're just money machines. We're going to make
That's
money
sad
out.
to me to think that,
It's very sad.
Yeah, I think I told you the story about this king years ago was curious about children. If they didn't have adult influence, what language would they learn amongst themselves? So they fed them, clothed them, bathed them, they gave them the necessities, but one necessity was there was no touch, there was no connection. In a year's time, as well-fed as those babies were, nutritionally, they were starved for touch and intimacy. And in a year's time, all those children had died. And so it just pointed up that you've got to have that intimacy. You have to have that connection. And horses are incredible animals. And they will do a huge service to you. If you learn equine massage, if you come to my program, you're going to learn a great way of connecting to this horse, and it's going to empower you. The first horse I worked on, I felt like I owned the world. I had worked with world-class athletes, our U.S. Olympic high jump, our track and field athlete, Bob Whelan, the double amputee that walked across America on his arms. I was in the spotlight with these athletes, and that was great. And I thought that was probably the best that was going to happen to me. But the first horse I did, I felt I owned the world. It was so far different than it was working with human athletes. And I swore I'd never work on another person again. I wanted to do horses. And so, is there any one thing, Annie, that sticks out in this program that you appreciated the most, that maybe you feel would be beneficial to others who might consider doing a program like this?
I feel like it was a very clear program, easy to understand. It was fun. Learning in a fun state, you learn more. It's just natural.
Right.
It was a very relaxed, open atmosphere, and there was just a really strong connection between everybody in the group and the horses, and it was just a fantastic learning environment. And I feel like you were really good at kind of creating that environment from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I love to teach. Teachers touch the future. And for you listening, always keep in mind that when the student is ready, the teacher is going to be there. So when you think you're ready, you can always go to howtomassageahorse.com. That's my website. And you'll have all kinds of information. Now, it's interesting, Annie. You're a trainer, and it's really fun to watch what you've done with your horse. Give us a little bit about this horse you picked up and what you've done with it.
So I have an adorable Icelandic horse. He's 12 years old this year, and I met him 3 years ago. I was training at a farm up in Canada, and he was essentially half wild, and the little bit of training that he did have was from a large number of people, and he didn't connect with any of them, and he was deemed unrideable and untrainable when I met him. And today I work at Liberty with him. I take him on trail rides. I do competitions successfully with him. He's come a really long way, and a lot of that came through just being his friend and connecting with him and not demanding so much from the beginning and gaining his trust.
We can
Trust
see
is
what
a big,
Yeah.
we can see what it's done for him. What has it done for you?
Challenged me, opened my eyes to a whole new world. I knew when I met him that he was going to push me to grow, to become an amazing trainer. I just had no idea where that road was going to lead, and he took the lead, and it's been an amazing journey.
It was fun looking at
And
your
he was amazing today, too. He was a little sweetie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or yesterday, yeah.
Oh,
He's
our
a
first-
snuggle bug.
He's a
Yeah.
snuggle bug.
So to hear you say that, Annie, I was really surprised looking at him and how we
Yeah.
worked with him yesterday.
He used to be nicknamed Chomper because if you pet him, he would bite you. If he did anything, he would try to kick you. Like, he wanted nothing to do with people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like we're, Mr. Producer, are we running out of time?
We still got a few minutes.
We have a few minutes? What's a few minutes?
We can go another 10 minutes here.
Another 10 minutes.
I think you should touch
We
on the
started a
fact
little late today.
Okay.
of the benefits of this for the farrier, which
Yeah.
on my end, working with farriers at Eponishu, and mostly that's who I deal with, a lot of these things that I saw today, even some of the just on the smallest scale, just even pressure points and stuff like that to calm a horse, or like Elamike was bringing up earlier, her being a farrier, she was saying a lot of these things I can use with a problem horse when I'm trying to shoe. And it's like that, even if you bring that into the farrier world, just that, even like I said, small amount, it's so helpful to them, I would think.
And if you take just a few moments to connect with a horse and show them that you're a trustworthy person, you're not going to hurt them, they'll give you the world.
Yeah.
That's 90% of your battle, right?
It doesn't take long, and it's just slowing down and just being like, hey, we're friends here. It's all good.
This is this equine world is an absolutely incredible world. If you're feeling something is missing in your life, you'll find it in the equine world, especially in the equine massage world. It's going to be a connection you don't have with anything else. It'll give you purpose. Brandy, thanks for bringing that up on the farrier, because that's important. I did a horse show years ago, and the farrier came to me and says, I need to have you work on me. I said, okay. So he said, how much do you charge for neck, shoulder, back? I said, this is my price. So I worked on him, and when I was done, he handed me twice the amount. I go, no, here, you take this back. He goes, no, I can go to work now. I was laid up because of an accident I had with a horse got the better of me. He said, now I was losing $800 today by not going to work. He says, what you did made it possible for me to get back to work. So taking my human abilities and taking it to the horse has had success in both worlds. So on the farrier note, I had a farrier send his wife to my school. I talked about this a little bit in school, I believe. He had worked on some horses that I had worked on, and he didn't know. And these horses were scary to him. They were out of up north.
So just problem horses that he didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, every farrier is worried about some horses that will hurt them, and it can happen just like that fast, that fast. I mean, boom, you're out of commission. And so he found out. He talked to the owner, and they go, "Wow, your horses are different today. They're usually I'm worried about working on them, fearful of being injured, but your horses are so nice. What's going on?" He said, we went to Gary Whiting's equine massage school, and Gary has come up and he worked on our horses. He goes, really? He told his wife, I'm sending you to Gary's school.
Guess where you're going?
Yes, you're going to school, and when you get done, you're going to go in front of me, and you're going to work on these horses that I am concerned about. A friend of mine, Tony, who really a great farrier, he's been in the business about 40 years, had an unusual situation occur to him. He was working on a horse. He had said, he said, I have never, ever had this ever happen before. He was doing something, and something spooked one of these gentle horses, and it yanked his leg away from Tony and threw Tony off balance and put him underneath the horse, and the horse was just unintentionally were stomping all over him, and poor Tony was off work for about 9 months. I went on up to the Reading area, and I worked on Tony and was able to bring him around and correct a lot of his problems. Let me tell you something for you listening to this program. There's so much you're going to be able to do, not just horses but people, because this is a horse and human program, and you will learn how, when you come into my program, you'll learn how to massage your friends. The same techniques, the same award-winning techniques that I've used with world-class athletes to help them shatter world records, and you're going to be able to help your friends, your loved ones, and make their lives better. There is no school that has what I have.
Yeah, as far as
well, just in substance. And I'm going to go through this right now, some of the things. You can find them on GaryWhiting.com. You'll be able to find what each of the subjects are a little bit, but I'm just going to go through. Here's your table of contents. There are 9 chapters in this book, 240 pages of really great material. A whole life of my experiences have gone into this.
Nutrition,
my very first book.
Yes, all kinds of information.
Equine and human nutrition. Very simple. what causes the problem in the horse, how to address it, and how to prevent it nutritionally. I had a call today about horse. I forget what the problem was. Well, it was right here in the book. I went, said, well, let me look that up. And I go, bingo, there it is right there. So it's all in my book as far as what causes, how to address, and how to prevent. And then for the human, every vitamin from vitamin A to vitamin U and all the minerals, what they are, what they do, and what foods they can be found in. So if your doctor tells you your vitamin K deficiency, your coagulant vitamin isn't producing it, you need more of it. You look in the chart in your book, and there it is, vitamin K. Here's all the foods. You just start adding some of those foods into your diet, and you're not deficient anymore. Massage and stretching techniques for horses. Well, what would an equine massage school be without massage? Okay.
And rider, yeah.
And rider, yep.
Yeah, that's hand in hand.
Hoof care, the natural foot of the horse versus the shod foot of the horse. And what's in the horse, but both of you work, is what I feel is the middle of the road.
Happy medium.
Yeah, and originally I thought it was a gimmicky thing because I'm really into form, function, design. It came natural, leave it natural. Well, I looked at it over the years. I looked at Epona. I go, this is the answer to the horse that's in between that needs to get the perimeter shoe off to something that's going to support the whole foot and keep the integrity of the coffin bone. So hoof care, we talk about that. Equine performance, whatever your sport is, whatever your distance riding, cow horse, hunter jumper, it gives you where you're going to find the stress problems from that particular sport. What muscles are going to be working, where you're going to find the sensitive areas and the areas that need to be looked at. That's in the book under equine performance. Anatomy, you get to color your own paint horse. You can make it any color you want. I did mine, and it's in the book where you can go ahead and say, well, I can make it look like better than Geary's.
Tanson's going to do mine, she told me.
Oh, yeah. And it gives you the names of the muscles, what they do, their functions, and but you don't have to memorize anything. You can if you want, but it's a fun part of learning the anatomy. How music affects horses and humans. Yes. The anapestic beat, the influence of we've done studies. I go back to 1960 or 61, watching the cattle in the dairy as they play different music.
I like
for
that
30
story.
days.
And their milk production. And
the milk production either went up or it went down, depending on the music. And they found out that anything with a pronounced beat, other than the heartbeat, if it was like this got frustrated. This
Annoying.
is our drummer. So it created a hostility, and the cows just wanted to get out. Well, it's the same thing today. Our horses in the barn, what kind of music are they listening to when they're in their home and supposed to be comfortable? So how music affects horses and human. It's a very, very important read. Some of my better articles, I never liked to write, but all of a sudden I got this thing about writing articles, and I actually liked what I wrote. And so some of my better articles...
And they're good and easy to understand.
Some of my, I think they're pretty cool, looking back at them. Human massage, the artist shiatsu massage. The charts are in there. There's videos that go with this program. Fitness and conditioning for the rider. That's also in a video. All right, well, we're running out of time. It went fast. Thanks for coming in. And
Thank you, Geary.
It was fun having you at school. Mr. Producer is giving me, okay, time to get out of here. So this is Geary Whiting saying thank you for tuning in on Slow Talk Radio. I hope you got something out of this. And if you need to contact me, just go on my website and contact info@GearyWhiting.com. We'll see you next week, where we'll go into some of these nutritional issues, and it's going to be delightful. Thanks, gals.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Producer,
Thank you.
take it away, Mr. Producer.
Yep. Good as new, all right.